Yeah, so is the dark side.
Apparently.
Girls just wanna have fun.
So, who wants to give us a recap rundown of where we are, what's going on?
We're at the club.
Up in the club, just woke up.
In the curb.
Yeah, so we're at the club. Iffy entered in a giant oyster. That was really cool. Then we hung around and we spoke to some people. I think the only major conversation we had, because we spoke to Velena briefly. We spent most of our time talking to the Zeltrons. The wonderful, wonderful Zeltrons. And we did mostly great. It was 99% wonderful. We forged a new business connection. It was great. We tried some drugs. What wouldn't you want to do? If you did roll a despair, but that's fine. It's fine. It just means that the Zeltrons understand that if he has a booty guard, I believe Joe used that phrase, and it's a pretty pertinent one, so I think that's good. I think that was most of it last session.
God.
Oh, we also had the resolution of the Kane stuff too.
Yes.
So Kane picked Lissy as his master, and they got to talking, and Lissy gave him an assignment. It was a dangerous assignment. Right. Lissy fought a Sith, and he took her arm, but she took his life, and also his Kyber crystal. Yes, and so she presented Kane with the Sith's Kyber crystal and told Kane to heal it. And that's Kane's first job as a Jedi Padawan, as a new Jedi Padawan again.
And remember correctly, he won't be able to be considered for his night trials until he heals the crystal.
Yes.
It is, as she phrased it, it's his test to see if he is truly ready and capable to become a Jedi. If he can't do it, then perhaps Jedi is not for him. But
Jedi litmus test.
Kane has survived. Kane is not going to jail, is not going to die, has found Kana again. They left in the future to go find Iffy and the crew. Also with the very important caveat that they can stay with Iffy, because they get experience with Iffy, and Iffy needs guards. However, Iffy has to agree to let them commandeer the ship as they so need for Jedi business. And that is their first true trial. Of convince Iffy of like, hey, if you want us to hang around, the Dawn has to sometimes be sidetracked.
Going to have to work out negotiations.
We go back into the past, to the night prior, where you're at Iffy's party. And you have talked very briefly to Velena, largely with that was an interesting entrance smile for the camera. And then the Zeltrons, where now the Zeltron ambassador is a little miffed at Iffy, and even more miffed at like her buddy, because her buddy got to flirt with Tia. She got chewed out. Which is not okay. But as some of you might have noticed me shifting some tokens around, the groups changed just a little bit.
Okay.
So every time you finish conversation, groups might shift and move.
Ooh.
Interesting.
To take your step away from the Zeltrons, Zeltrons have gone back to their very, very strong drinks and the 2 or 3 dancers they have sequestered into a corner for their own entertainment. You turn and see that this is the groupings of the big players, you can say. There's plenty of other waiters and waitresses wandering around, and other small-time senators and ambassadors and different officials.
Mhm.
Hell, there's probably a secretary that even works in the office for the group that the Hapens are amongst, that is there drinking very heavily of the free booze.
I mean, when you're a secretary, that's one of the biggest perks of the job, getting to go to these parties.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So does anybody have any idea who they'd like to speak to? Do you guys have any input? Because you're also here.
I'll point out, the Tia and Minty, you guys are allowed to talk to people. You don't have to be quiet and, just the silent background characters the entire party. So if there's
Gotcha.
somebody that you want to interact with or you think would be interesting to interact with, you can step forward and do that.
So the only person that Tia would know would be Dahlia and Regi, but there's a slight complication there. 2 complications there, actually. So it's like, It's a matter of, is Tia smart enough to realize the hole she's dug herself?
We can always YOLO it and see if you want.
Yeah, but I don't really have a strong opinion on where we go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Cody, do you have any ideas?
No, I mean, I love her, the one that just got moved, just because of her face paint. But Mindy has absolutely zero preferences. She is just barely hanging on by a thread here.
And Angar here is she the Churka representative?
Yes.
Yes.
So she is Belle is the Shirka representative. Yunvita is the other one that you specifically invited.
All right. Well, I'm hearing interest in the Regi group from both of you, so I vote we approach the Regi group.
Okay, cool. Is this like something that's advertised to the group as we make our way over?
I imagine it is. Like, I imagine we're clubbing or whatever, and like if he's clearly starting to move toward the Regi group.
Okay, cool. I'd like to roll something.
Yeah, go for it.
Z, what would I roll for Tia to see if she can remember the hole she dug way back when?
Let me see here. Probably deception.
Cool. What's the...
Part of me wants to say survival.
That's funny.
Deception.
Deception? How many purples?
How much attention do you think she was putting into that lie when she was actively performing the lie?
I feel like it was much more of a... She had no reason to lie there. It was very much the compulsive lying being compulsive. She didn't really have to. There's not a lot of thought put into it.
3 and a black.
3 and a black. Understood. Oh, this might get very interesting.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
Hold on. Let me pull something up really fast.
Oh?
I love when Z has to pull something up about a social account.
Just give her the strain and move on.
Oh no. I did this to myself.
You did.
Yeah.
You voluntarily asked for this.
I did.
True.
I know I did. I just thought it'd just be the 2 straight and move on.
It's not the 2 straight and move on.
Well,
We're gonna have some fun tonight.
It's gonna be interesting. Okay. Fuck, how you spell Rigi again?
R-I-G-J-I.
Thank you.
In fact, you are convinced that you told them that you were Scratch.
Wait, that is what she told them.
Was it Scratch?
It wasn't Scratch, was
It
it?
was Scratch.
It wasn't Scratch. It was the other one. It was the Goody Two Shoes.
Yeah, that is Scratch. Well, okay, there's some complications here.
Damn it, Amy.
No. Scratch is Tia's call sign, but she's kind of used it for that one. But you know what? We can roll with. We can just say that.
Well, then you randomly pick one of the others. You're convinced that you were one of the other ones.
Okay, cool. Where's my book of Tia?
Gianora.
Oh God. Okay, understood. I'm gonna imagine that for the interaction, Tia remembered more strongly the fact that for the uniform and for the Creation Thumper lessons, she mostly remembered the lessons and also the fact that she suddenly learned she doesn't know how to tie a tie. So one of them had to tie it for her, and that's what she remembers. She does not remember who she was, unfortunately. Alright, understood.
Would you like to kick things off there?
I was going to say... sorry, things were not loading. Like I said, Foundry is coming from my throat tonight. There we go. Alright, so as we start making our way over, I imagine if he has a clear target sighted in mind.
Mm-hmm. She's moving with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, smiles and waves through the crowd, but moving with a purpose.
Smiles away through the crowd. Tia looks, spots. She's like, oh, cool, I know them. Wait, tug on Iffy. Gonna put a slight halt to the train real quick.
Iffy raises a brow, but turns. Oh, what's the matter? Something wrong?
And Tia's gonna turn since she's facing away from said group, and then turn to face Iffy and Mindy. Right, so I think that might be a bit of a complication.
What kind of a complication are we talking here?
Do you remember what we talked about?
We talked about a lot of things, TT. You're gonna have to narrow it down just a smidge.
Right. She's gonna turn and just, glance, okay, it's just us in this little bubble. Alright, just the three of us. Okay, cool, I can trust these people, right? He looks at Mindy. Nah, I trust Mindy. It's fine.
Mindy's fine.
Mindy, trustworthy. Can confirm, stamp of approval. When we were doing the, Creation Thumper lessons, I may have told them that I was someone else.
Oh, go on.
And that you had gotten my name wrong when you were first talking about me.
Oh. We're going with some sort of incompetent boss angle here?
Just kind of shifts a little bit. I wasn't really implying that, but... I'm pretty sure that they believe I'm... No, I remember.
You remember?
Of course I do.
You got it down.
She nods. She kinda, shifts her hat a little bit as if, I'm a professional. Of course I remember my lies. I would never get them wrong. She says they are currently wrong.
Well, Iffy, who is still a little bit heated, is nevertheless like, okay, I have to settle down. We had a talk. And part of the talk was trusting each other. So good. It's fine. It's all gonna be fine. So she nods. All right, so you got it down. I'll follow your lead then. Am I still calling you like Tia here, or?
I believe the name I told them is that I was Gianora, or Gia, which is similar to Tia. So that would be why I went with that one.
But that can't be what I calls you, right?
She stops for a second. She's like, lying is much easier when it's just me. She's realizing this is gonna be difficult, having more people in on a lie. Ah, fuck. Okay. No, I guess not. You could just call me that, or you don't go by last names. The last name for that one would be Mezala.
Nazala?
Mezala.
Mezala.
She nods.
Mezala.
Tia just like, maybe you should just stick with Gia. I think
Gia?
that might be easier.
And that's GIA, right?
JIA.
JIA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She's gonna fuck this up so bad. This is it.
All right. Iffy
Alright.
then nods and considers this for a second. You good to talk to him?
Sure, I had a lot of fun talking with them before. Just turns to Mindy. Are you following this, Mindy?
You lied about who you are? She says kind of questioningly.
Of course I did.
Okay. She nods and is ready to proceed.
Now, Mindy, you might want to keep the eye on the Mandalorian here. She's a little well, she and I got history, so she might get a little close. So just keep an eye out, yeah?
Is that the one that's tying up her hair?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the extreme baddie, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mindy begins staring at the Mandalorian.
No, not like that, not like that. Just, awareness, not staring.
The stare becomes a side eye.
You know what? That works. You're doing great. Can I get another round of oil for the droid over here?
You grab like the closest waitress to ask that, and you get very much the same like half blank stare, like confusion, like what did you? Okay. And they move off to try to answer the request.
Back of house is definitely like, she sent you back for oil too? But once we receive the oil, we'll start heading over.
Mm-hmm. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Oh boy. Got oil, got new drinks. Alright, guys.
So you start start to head over, and as you get closer and closer, you can see Rigi, again, as Rigi does, very animated and like full chest talking. You can hear him from further away than he probably should be heard in this setting. And he seems to be extolling on the virtues of one of the very few land-based cities on Glianthum, his home planet. And in particular, the infrastructure. And you can see Hang in full armor. No, still with the helmet on. Very much out of place, but also it's a Mandalorian, so, you know, at least it looks like she polished the armor.
That's about as good as you're gonna get.
Yeah. It's polished, it's oiled, so there's not a squeak anywhere. Just kind of standing slightly behind Rigi. You can't exactly tell where she is looking, what she is doing, but just she seems, for a Mandalorian, to be in a rather relaxed position. Dahlia has an arm looped through Regi's, is very clearly not paying any attention, is looking off to the side and watching another group that's a couple feet away that you see is entering into some sort of dice game. She is locked into what they're doing with the occasional nod or yeah or that sounds right at mostly the right places. However, you do see that Bell is fully locked into this conversation. His eyes not drifting away from Rigi once. Hands clasped very primly in front of her. She is in the height of Coruscant evening fashion. And you can't hear her as you approach, though you do see her mouth occasionally move in some quiet agreement or question to Rigi before he launches into another section of his speech. And as you get close enough to kind of be clearly trying to enter into the group in the conversation, Rigi throws both arms wide, and you see Dahlia's head kind of whip around as her hand is jarred away from his upper arm. To see what is happening suddenly. As he throws his arms wide and he grins a pearly white, extremely straight teeth smile in your direction. And just even louder than the conversation he was just having, kind of booms out. And there is the star of the evening and my favorite gambling partner.
Iffy loves very few things more than attention. So she does, pose slightly as she's advancing on, the, oh, who, me sort of situation, kind of fanning herself with her good hand. And she grins back at Rigi as she kind of slides in, tries to, find good positioning, and looks over at Rigi. And if there ain't my favorite gambling partner, how's it going, Rigi? There's a man who knows how to have fun. You guys know that, right?
And Rigi, still grinning, even if you do not offer a hand, reaches out and takes one of your hands in both of his, shaking it very heartily before...
Which hand?
Whichever is closest.
It would be, she's leading with the good side.
And will shake the hand very heartily. And you can see there is just a moment where there's a consideration of, do I pretend I am better? Do I reach a hand out like I'm going to hug her? Do I lift a hand? Like, do the air kiss? Like, what do I... And then there's exactly that 0.2 seconds that for people that are not as socially attuned might miss, but you know what's happening. He is playing the game of what is socially acceptable with this foreign culture before he just essentially pats the back of your hand one more time and lets it go and turns towards Belle to, like, in a kind of opening way of like, here, you can talk to her too, you're a part of this conversation, but still staring at you, Iffy. And he shakes his head. Well, you got me a rather lucrative position. I've been able to run 2 more races on Bilbringy since your lovely rider here. And he turns and reaches out both hands towards Tia, noticing her coming up behind. And again, shakes your hand very heartily, but unlike with Iffy, raises a hand to just very briefly kiss the back of the knuckles.
There's a big smile from Tia, and just happy greeting, and probably a little giggle as he greets her before she takes another sip of her drink. I imagine she is slightly more unsteady on her feet. Just a little more less sturdy, a little more wishy-washy, leaning in with every direction she goes. As she... Ow, fuck. I'm sorry.
You good?
Yeah, Taylor is just making things difficult for me. Alright. Yes, greeting him. And she says, Hi there, it's been quite a bit. I'm happy to hear that you're doing well.
Tia, you can roll me a perception at 2 purple. As Reggie just nods and looks back to Iffy with a grin. You need to come back to Bilbringy rather soon if you want to keep betting on my Creation Thumpers.
Well, you know I never turned down an opportunity to hang out with my old pal Reggie. And Dahlia, it's good to see you too. And hey, you're looking good. Did you polish your armor?
Hayne, who has essentially been bumped out of the circle. Not that she was particularly interested in being in the circle to begin with. You can feel the weight of just eyes on you. She does not respond. You know Hayne well enough to know that she would like nothing more than to gnaw off her own arm to get out of here.
Yeah, that checks out.
But she is here because she has to be, and her job and honor demands it.
Yep.
And with that, with just 2 advantages, you notice Dahlia is watching you, Tia. It's hard to read her face and expression. She is, in her own rights, very much a politician like Reggie is. But she is watching you. And she gives a little nod in response to Iffy's greeting. And before she can say anything, not that she seems to be particularly eager to jump into the conversation just yet, Reggie just motions towards Belle and looks towards you, Iffy. And this is Miss Belle Angar. She's a representative, from what I understand, of the Circa Corporation. And you see Belle just kind of nod. And she opens her mouth to start speaking, and Reggie just continues to plow right through. And I'm not mistaken, you said you represent most of the mid-rim at this point. Is that correct? And Belle has closed her mouth again. She nods again. And she finally speaks, and you hear her voice has an interesting quality, being very smooth and quiet. However, it's almost like she is able to direct her voice so you can hear it clearly, but just barely over the noise. So, as to not gain the attention or knowledge of anybody outside of exactly who she's meaning to speak with. And there's a small smile. She bows her head slightly in greeting. I am Ambassador. I am the director of growth within the Mid-Rim, and perhaps soon enough, well, should the Force will it, the former Imperial-held areas of the Outer Rim.
If he will, if you would know the appropriate greeting here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Are we going for, like, polite air kiss? I feel like polite air kiss is the appropriate.
That is not outside of the realm of question.
Okay, let's go for polite air kiss. And then, if you will flag down a waiter, order everybody around. Except Hayne, who probably doesn't drink on the job, god damn it. She orders water for Hayne.
Water with a straw.
Water with a straw.
And you notice, interestingly enough, Belle also orders nothing but water.
Interesting. This is probably smart, though. So, mid-rim operations and perhaps the outer rim, too. Huh. So, Circa looking to expand these sometime soon?
There's just a faint smile. What corporation in their right mind is not looking to expand?
Well, a corporation of your size, obviously, but you'd be surprised. Some of the ones are, well, back home, pretty content to stay within the realm of the cluster. I'm not super like that, though.
And there's a slight twitch at the corner of her mouth of a smirk. Oh, clearly, you're making enough of a name for yourself that you'll become a Republic darling rather than a Hapen darling soon enough.
If he smirks and goes, well, don't let the other Hapens hear you say that. They might say some very impolite things about me, but the way I see it, that means I'm doing something right, right? You never get anywhere without making a few enemies.
There's a slow nod. And Rigi, now feeling left out of the conversation, immediately cuts in as soon as your words end. We were just discussing. She was interested in perhaps seeing if there's any minerals to be found. Non-gliansum. Of course, it's a little complicated considering most of the vast richness of the planet is underwater, but there are a few places that you can just drop a mining machine right on the land.
If you will tilt her head, look over to Rigi with a, I see I have to indulge this for a little bit, but it's fine. Like, friendly vibe here. Oh yeah? And what kind of minerals you talking, Reg?
Well, there's certainly more than enough to make just about any metal of interest. Short of, what is it that's so special to you, Hayden Beskar? and there's a little twitch from Hane, and you just get a very, very calm, very monotone. I would hope there is not Beskar on Glianza. And Ricci just kind of waves the statement off before just kind of... Sorry, my brain just went blank for a second.
That's okay. You're like 3 people talking to themselves here, really, so I think that's totally fine.
And he just waves Hane's comment off before looking towards Belle. And Circa, for all of its current abundance, is, well, originally a mining corporation. Can't forget the roots, can you? And Belle shakes her head slightly. Now, we may find most of our profit in weapons and ships at this point. But mining and good metal is still at the core. You see, Dahlia has relaxed again beside Rigi and has reestablished her grip around his arm. But rather than zoning back into the table that was starting their gambling, she is stayed locked on more or less to you, Tia.
Oh, wonderful.
And she just kind of tilts her head as this conversation starts. And you get the very clear, like, silent question of, like, are you okay?
I imagine there's a silent, just like big smile, thumbs up, of like, I have never been better. Because that's what's normal for who she thinks she should be playing at the moment.
And the tilted head just tilts a little more.
Imagine at this point, Tia's starting to get worried. She's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to turn and just vibe with Mindy. I'm just going to ignore what's happening over there. If I can't see it, it's not real. It's like, just going to lean my weight the other way. Just going to drink this drink some more. I'm assuming that doesn't help.
No, she is still
Yeah,
watching
okay.
you. There is a
Okay.
flicker of curiosity because Mindy is a new addition.
Mhm.
None of them have ever seen Mindy before. But she is also, your benefit here is Dahlia is also aware enough to not ask questions around and in front of this many people.
Thank Christ.
Doesn't mean that you're free from questions. But at least at the moment you are safe.
At the moment. We live in the moment.
And Belle is humoring Regi's explanation about Glianzel and the little history of Circa. Looks towards you again, Effie.
Mhm.
And there is a painted brow slowly raised. I don't suppose you have any knowledge of mining and weapon dealings that might happen from over 2 Haves?
Is this economics or is this negotiation? Or are you going to make me roll another knowledge skill and I will cry?
This one will be economics.
All right.
So, did I give you a thing
Is that a
for
skill?
economics?
Yeah, you gave me economics. Yes, I have.
Oh,
I have
shit.
2 ranks in economics. That's why I'm trying to get it.
Just making sure. So this would be because Iffy is tangentially related to that, but not directly as compared to her fellow ambassador. So we will go 3 purple for it.
Okay, 3 purple. All right. Are you going to upgrade that or?
No.
All right. Let's see what we got. I would say, should I upgrade this? But we don't have any light side. So
Nope.
not a single one.
It's because the Jedi aren't here.
Ah!
Yep.
Just fucking even too.
The best you know a whole bunch about smuggling of weapons into the Hapes Consortium. Do you want to say that to the face of somebody, like a company person and another ambassador? Yeah, we smuggle a whole bunch of weapons into the Consortium. It's up to you.
All right. How about Well, how about something along the lines of, well, I don't know the specifics. I can tell you that weapons are in really high demand whenever I make a visit. Would that be bad?
No.
Okay. If he thinks for a moment, you know, that's not exactly my area of focus, although, let me tell you, whenever I go back to the cluster, people are always asking me when I'm going to start securing more weapons contracts, so, I don't know, it's very in demand.
There's a slight tilt of the head as Belle is locked into you. You don't think she has blinked this entire time. You're not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like that. They're asking you to secure more arms deals. That's an interesting bit of information. I don't suppose you've had any talks with buyers as of yet?
Not yet. The whole situation's real formative. Like, I don't like to just jump into business with anybody, you understand. And, as I'm sure you're well aware, it's real tricky to get into the cluster.
Yeah, Circa's been trying to get into the cluster for decades now, so I'm very well aware. Though I would caution you, if I might, if you're going to jump into business with anybody, Circa is probably one of your best bets. Your people are asking for weapons. Well, we can make just about anything they would ask for.
Do I have Iffy make a political play here to put Lysandra even further in social debt to her? I could call her over, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Amy just
Amy's BRB. Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, okay, cool. If you will think for a second and go, you know, I never like to have a conversation unawares of what I'm talking about. Did we lose Joe? Ah, we lost Charles. They are not feeling very well, so.
Oh.
They just have not gotten over that bug, have they?
They, not entirely, no. But, if you, I don't like to have conversations unawares, so let me call in one of my colleagues over here. Let's have ourselves a decent conversation, a full one. Hey, Lysandra! You're not busy over there. Come over here.
You call for Lysandra, and it actually takes you 2 times before her head kind of turns in your direction. And you make the statement of you are not busy over there. And if there was a way for you to die by a look, Lysandra would be the one accomplishing that. even you, Tia, as you kind of like look, trying to figure out who Iffy is talking to, you almost can see the imaginary lightning shooting from this woman directly into Iffy.
Damn.
And
Understood. All Hapens are like that.
Lysandra, in a return play of frustration, holds up a hand in the 1 second gesture and turns back to her conversation with Felina. And though you're not exactly sure what they're talking about, she makes a point of staying there for an extra minute or two before starting to work her way very slowly across the room.
Jesus.
Just drawing out the length of time as long as she can before it becomes completely rude.
Is just Caddy an inherent gene
Yes.
in
I think
Havens?
it is. I think it is. I think
The least catty one you will find is probably Evelina, and she has a whole different bag.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means it's dormant.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I have an idea. We could try and engineer a split here.
Okay.
Where it's Dahlia, Regi, and Tia, and then and then Lysandra, Hayne, and Belle, because they're all weapons people. And then Mindy could go with either group. How do you guys feel about that? It's okay if you want to keep it a group thing, but that was just an idea that I had that I thought I would run past you.
I mean, I'm down. Though I don't know if Regi would want to be separated from all the big talks that are going to happen.
That's true.
Want to and able to are two different things.
Yep.
Would he want to? No. However, Regi
The death grip
is at his core a simple man.
Cody, how are you feeling about it?
I mean, that works for Mindy. She would just probably go with whichever group if he goes with.
Okay. All right. So I will attempt social engineering here. And I will attempt to, as Lysandra's taking her sweet fucking time coming over, if he will lean over toward Regi, like, Reg, pal, let me tell you, it's always wonderful speaking with you, but we're about to have two Hapens over here, and you know how it can be. She's not like me. She's nothing like me. In fact, she's a lot worse in every possible way. But you might want to make yourself a little scarce before she starts asking you to hold a coat. Besides, G over here has been wanting to talk to you more about this Creation Thumper business. I think she's hooked.
Okay. Let me look at this. Where is his stats? So, I am going to need you if you're trying to sway him in such a way. Where the fuck did all your social stuff go? Because I know it's there.
Regi, homie, is about to get real man-hating up in here.
No, you don't understand, Regi.
Whew. I feel like negotiation is your strong suit here.
Yeah, okay. I don't like the way you're saying that.
Because if you're in a social situation, you're going to be doing a whole bunch of contested roles for these types of things if you're trying social engineering.
Yes.
This man's stat block has you rolling against 4 reds.
4
Whoa.
reds? Jesus Christ! Okay, 4 reds. I get to downgrade that twice, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so all right. So it's not as bad as it could be. It's not as bad as it could be.
Not nearly as bad as it could be.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here.
Fingers crossed.
You're supposed to be good at this. Hey!
See, Reiji heard you call for Lysandra. You see his eyes drift in that direction. Lysandra originally talking to Lena and her husband. And you see the first formation of a little kind of frown. Like, I was having a nice conversation and you came over and took it over. That's annoying. And as you turn to him, he looks in your direction. And you can see he understands what you are saying. He is well versed enough, and perhaps even more versed than he was originally, now that he has had a chance to interact with an actual Haven. And the frown grows a little bit deeper. He looks towards Lysandra again, who's just starting to turn around. Oh. It's rather unfortunate that you've not been able to get the rest of your group to be as tolerant as you seem. He says, very slowly. Sure, that makes negotiations rather difficult for you. And the booming of his voice has curbed just a little bit.
Aw, Reiji. Let me see. Okay. What about if... Can Ify promise to have dinner with him as a consolation? I think that'd be a good idea.
Sure.
Yeah. Ify will reach over to hug Reiji, then hold at arm's length. Good arm. Look, believe me, you wouldn't believe how hard I've had to try with some of these girls. How about I catch you for dinner tomorrow?
And you see a little bit of surprise and kind of a tilt of the head. That might actually be entertaining. Tell you, I know this place where it's right above a good card house if you'd like to go.
Ify's eyes genuinely light up a bit. Oh, I would love to go.
And he nods a little bit. Well, I'll send you the information after, well, let's be honest, tomorrow morning.
Ify will laugh at that and then go, hey, and listen, whatever you do not drink the Zeltron drink, alright? I'll have you flat on your ass.
And you see his eyes drift over towards the corner of the club where the Zeltrons have set up. And as you follow his gaze, you see that Valena and her husband have walked over into that direction as well.
Oh no, Valena!
Oh no, Valena, are you sure she's the one that you need to be worried about there?
That's true. It's also, oh no.
Oh no, all of them, let's be real.
Oh no, Ryzen. The rest of them are fine. And Ryuji just... You see his head kind of go one way and the other, side to side motion. Well, maybe I should be getting that few people at this party then, if it's that strong. And he gives you a devilish little smile for a moment before he kind of pulls away and looks towards you, Tia. So, you've gotten hooked on Creation Thumpers, have you?
Tia, who kinda hasn't, will nod. It's like, that shit fucking sucked, is what she thinks as she nods and smiles and says, of course, it was so fun and exhilarating. It's like, god damn it, Iffy, why is that what you had to fucking say?
And he will kind of take a step away to break away from the group. Dahlia kind of being dragged along with him. Well, let me tell you about a few opportunities you might be interested in if you're ever in the right part of the galaxy.
Tia, smiling, beaming ear to ear. I would love to hear that. She's in so much agony mentally. All she can remember is how sore she was the day after that last race.
It was a fun race, though.
It was a fun race.
Itself.
The race itself was fun. It was afterwards. That sucked. But Tia will go. Just thinking of all the fucking lies. Iffy, why? But she will go and split off, and she is going to make sure to keep Iffy in eyeline. Keep her in sight, because she is still, bodyguarding,
As Haynes steps away, if he calls, "Hey, Rage, trade your bodyguards? You got mine."
Tia's head snaps to turn to Iffy.
Both Tia and Hayne look at Iffy like she just grew a second head. And Reiji, completely unaware of the issue, sure, it's not like anything bad's going to happen here.
I mean, Star Wars!
Iffy! Jesus Christ!
And Haynes' head snaps around looking his direction.
Fucking so does Tia's. It's like, oh my god.
And then she looks back at Iffy for a second, and then the helmet turns towards you, Tia. And there is a moment where you are being stared down in silence before Hayden takes a step closer and leans close so that you can hear her through the helmet, which is uncomfortably close.
Mm-hmm.
If anything happens to my contract, well, you better have died first.
Imagine Tia
Steps away.
smiles wide, and just calls out as she starts walking, following Regi and Dahlia. Of course, and same to you as well.
And she slowly approaches,
Hmm.
and rather than joining into the circle fully, she still stands a foot or two away, just arms crossed.
Jesus
she is
Christ.
there, she is listening. She is not volunteering to participate as of yet.
And
Tia, you are trapped with 2 Natolans now.
Yeah, she is. Tia's just thinking, what the fuck did I sign myself up for? I thought Kana's group of friends would be at least somewhat chill. No. No, they're not. They're the opposite of chill. And I fucking lumped myself in with the least chillest one. Her only hope now is Mindy.
Who is also, from what I understand, Cody, still with Iffy, so not with Tia.
You
That
can
is
go with Tia
correct.
if you want.
No, as in,
I-
only hope is Mindy with Iffy
oh, okay.
to keep things from going too much off the rails.
Mindy, who does not interrupt Iffy, just tells her what the fuck ups were after they have been happened and moved on from.
It's something. It's something.
Ambassador, have you considered not doing what you did?
Ambassador.
So I'm a medical droid. I am not a protocol droid. I do
Correct.
not.
Oh boy. Godspeed, everyone, really.
Yes.
But we shall start with Iffy's side and then move over to Tia's side. Iffy, you have Hane just kind of hovering behind you. Belle is still standing appropriate talking distance away. At least appropriate talking distance for this setting. And Lysandra strolls closer and kind of stops beside Belle, looking you over from head to toe, and she, much like Belle, much like you, is in height of Coruscant fashion, however, as you would expect, where you wear all white near about. She generally wears all black. And she is decked out head to toe in black and silver jewelry and silver accoutrements on her dress and dangling off of a belt, and she damn near looks like a night sky when it is all said and done. And she tilts her head, blonde hair swinging to the side as she does. You called.
Iffy smiles as wide as only extreme smug high positioning can make you smile. And goes, yeah, I was just having a conversation with Belle here. And it occurred to me that I actually didn't know something. And I thought maybe you might be interested in our little chat.
See a brow raise. And she glances at Belle and then glances back at you, and you can see her waiting.
By the way, that looks like really good whiskey you got there. Do you mind sharing?
And there's a little smile. She nods. It's not too bad. I can tell you, though. It's only the best at this club, unfortunately. Got a cask of a decade older at my place. You should try that at some point. Holds out the glass for you.
Holds out the glass for me. Yeah, okay. I will take the glass. I will take the glass. And if he will turn toward Belle, lean forward. You know that Lysandra, she's got very discerning tastes. She's from one of those high-ranking families. They don't really have to struggle all that much, so they love luxury.
Whew. Okay. Lysandra doesn't seem to blink as you are saying this. And she just kind of straightens herself up and head tilts in the other direction. Oh, yes. I can just walk into a club. I don't need to pop out of anything. What was it? Which thing did you not know?
Well, don't tell me you don't recognize Belle over here. She's only the person who's managing the circuit accounts for the mid-rim and maybe soon beyond that.
And she looks towards Belle. Belle kind of bows her head very politely. It's been very controlled, not a single expression to be read in this exchange. And Lysandra gives a little bow of the head in return. A pleasure to meet you then. And Belle just smiles. We're glad to have you back, Joe. When the fucking fart noise comes in the middle of a conversation, I completely forget everything I'm trying to say.
Sorry.
And fuck. I have to find the
Belle
correct...
was gearing up to say things.
Yeah, I have to find the correct hamster wheel again. It's in there somewhere. Belle just kind of smiles and very politely kind of positions herself so that she is more in between the two of you, at the tip of a triangle, rather than closer to one or the other. And just looks towards Lysandra. We were discussing the possibility of arms deals to bring in weaponry into the consortium. And you see a slow smile spread across Lysandra's face. Well, if you're wanting to come into the consortium, then you need to be talking to me for sure. My family is one of the primary weapons manufacturers, and one of the primary military families in the consortium. She holds out a hand towards Belle. Belle takes it, and there's one very quick shake for her hands again clasped directly in front of her. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you then. And Lysandra, see her eyes kind of cut towards you, Iffy. And there is the very clear expression that you know of, okay, why are you calling me over for this when you could bullshit your way? And why are you still standing there if you don't know anything here and you're not participating?
Iffy will take a sip from this expensive whiskey that she paid for and just look between the two and give a... how do I describe this? One of those little belle of the ball shrugs, you know. What can I say? Lysandra's family is really high up there. But my family's all about bringing people together, business and contracts and all that. So while Lysandra here better understands weaponry, nobody understands the relationship between Hapes and the outside the cluster like I do, so I thought I would help her out on this one.
You have known and been opposed to and worked beside Lysandra long enough that you can feel the bubbling up of all the snark that she could say in response. All of the cutting words that she could throw out to dismiss or distort your claims. But, to her credit, she holds her tongue in the moment. just kind of shifts her weight a little bit and flags down a waitress for a different drink. And as she is sipping it and looking between the two of you, she tilts her head again. What exactly are you looking to sell into the consortium, if I might ask? And Belle, without missing a beat, just kind of opens both her hands in a like wide gesture before clasping them together again. Well, Circa can make everything and anything, so it's your choice, really. And you can immediately see the doubt on Lysandra's face. And there is, as much as you might dislike Lysandra, as much as the two of you may be opposed and butting heads and competing, Lysandra is very knowledgeable in what she is knowledgeable in. She knows weaponry. She knows military. And there is something about the phrasing that Belle used that immediately is placing doubt in her mind. A doubt that you did not immediately clock into, Effie.
Mm.
And Lysandra kind of shifts. She holds, kind of like shifts so that one hip is kind of sticking out just a little bit, settling into a more kind of locked position as she swirls her glass in her hand. Well, anything and everything. Here I was under the impression that Circa was, what? Small arms at best? Maybe a handful of blasters or heavy rifles? And Belle kind of pauses for a second. You see her head tilt. That's certainly what we are known for. But you're capable of much more than that. And Lysandra just not looking away. She is locked into Belle now rather than you, Effie. Well, care to expand on what is more than just a blaster and a rifle? Can't exactly expect to make deals on vague promises, can you? And there's a little smile that kind of creeps across Belle's face. Oh, are we in the business of trying to potentially make a deal here? And she looks between Lysandra and you, Iffy.
Iffy takes another sip of her drink. She's content. She doesn't need to one up in this particular sphere. And just looks around. Well, we wouldn't be at this party if I didn't like sealing deals now, would we?
And Belle gives a little nod. Well, we are certainly most known for our blasters and our rifles. We do have some interesting snipers and munitions that are gaining traction. Some experimental technology still that I can't promise, though in the near future, perhaps. We're even looking into, well, I probably shouldn't say. And Lysandra just kind of, you see her cut her eyes towards you for a really quick Iffy before looking back to Belle. Well, if you're going to be promising things, at least you should give us something of tantalizing interest. Whether or not it's an actual thing to happen. And Belle smiles again. Well, there's been some talk in the research and development wing of branching out into augmentations in the near future. The augmented soldier is better in every way. And you can feel a shift behind you, Effie, from Hayne.
Oh God, Belle, you are barking up the wrong tree. There's like 2 or 3 different kinds of wrong tree going on. How do I? Let me see. Can I make a charm check to try and save this woman?
Sure.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but pitching cybernetics to Lysandra, who is more Hapen than Iffy, and then also saying something about soldiers, I feel like she needs an out.
So, you would definitely know that, like, it would be more of a personal thing to Hayne than it is necessarily an across-the-board thing. Because if something can help you keep fighting for Mandalorian, it's worth it. For Lysandra, and this would be my personal take, and you can say that that's not how you feel the Hapens would run if you so choose. But if the Hapes Consortium is moving into the galaxy during a time of war, that having their foot soldiers, which I would imagine would be a lot of men, or some of the men that they have, having them augmented to be more imposing than they actually are, or they would be otherwise, would be something that Hapes at least considered.
Okay.
It's not necessarily something that has been fully implemented, but it has been a conversation that you have heard a couple of times, so that Hapes can feel like a force worth talking about.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
No, you talk about, like, the general or the queen getting augmented, hell no. But for your run-of-the-mill, quote-unquote, cannon fodder, it's a different story.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let me see. In that case, I don't think I'll necessarily make the charm check. I will just try and I'll have Iffy tilt her head a little bit as if she's considering this, shoot a look over to Lysandra, and then back over to Belle. Well, there has been an awful lot of debate about our fighting force now, hasn't there? Though, I do gotta ask, these augments you're talking about, how visible would they be?
And I will add something else into this conversation for context.
Yes.
Should you so choose to use it, Cody, in particular, Mindy would be owing if you know bits and pieces of this information. That while augmentation and cybernetics are common throughout the galaxy, if you're talking about augmentation and cybernetics specifically for the intention and sole purpose of making essentially a super soldier, is what she is implying, that is more frowned upon. That is not quite as common in this day and time, and usually comes from black market rather than main shopping.
So bringing it up in this conversation is like a faux pas?
Bringing it up is very strange, because it would take some shifting of cultural mindset or needs to make it accepted across the galaxy. There are cultures that would definitely lean into it, but it is not, that is more the minority than the majority. Because generally, if you're going to get a cybernetic augmentation, it's because you have to, and usually it's more for the purpose of maybe doing something slightly better than you did before, but just getting the movement back, getting whatever the mechanics were back. So like Iffy replacing her arm with just a base ass arm, maybe one that's a little stronger, a little bit more durable, but not a weapon. If she wanted a weapon, she'd have to go digging a little deeper to try and find a weapon arm. So as you...
And I'm sorry, did you say we're both aware of this societal moray?
Yeah. Mindy
Okay.
would know all of it. Aphie would know that, would more know that, like, well, you're talking about this is stuff that you see a lot on the black market. Now, maybe not fully understand the faux pas beyond the Hapes Consortium associated with it, but would know of the presence of that type of augmentation being a more black market type vibe.
I think Mindy would just kind of get close to Iffy and just put her hand like on her forearm, not say anything, but just kind of like, we're entering conversations here that are uncomfortable.
So, then I will amend Iffy. It seems like she's about to say something after looking at Lysandra, but then she feels that touch and she's like, oh, wait, this means breaks. This means breaks. This means Iffy no. And looks around for a second, still as if she's considering it, and then she's like, well, that is a tantalizing bit of information. Is that really a conversation for a joint like this?
And Belle just kind of looks in your direction, and that same smile is on her face. Well, this or the offices that she holds at the Senate building. I understand there's resistance among some to such things, but, well, any laws that might be in place is up to the likes of you and the senator herself to change. And I dare say that two leading politicians and negotiators could shift some of the cultural opinion on it if needed.
What's Lysandra's vibe?
She is hard to read. She has adopted that kind of neutral expression of somebody that's listening very, very intently, but is trying to hold their cards very close to their chest. You can try to roll something to see if you can piece together what she has, or what she's thinking. But she has gone from annoyed and then a little interested in the conversation to politician.
Alright, I'll go for the vibe check.
Okay. So, let me see where her sheet is.
Five reds.
Yeah, that would be her deception, so it is 5 red.
I was joking!
You spoke it into existence.
I did. I manifested this. This is my own damn fault. What is this opposed?
Actually, hold on.
Oh god.
6 reds.
4 reds. I'll give you a blue because you have worked alongside Lysandra for so long.
And what skill? Vigilance or perception?
I would say perception for this one.
Cool. Alright, so that's 4 reds, downgraded twice. Alright. And 1 blue. Well, let's see what we got. No idea. We do have 1 advantage, but no idea.
You know for sure that, like, because she is interested in this, because she is not disengaging or interrupting, that there is some weight that she is putting behind this. Whether it be, okay, I want to see how deep this hole goes because this is bad, or genuinely, okay, this might be something I want in on, you're not sure. But it is not so deep of a hole that she thinks she needs to immediately backpedal, nor so big of a faux pas that she thinks is like, okay, I need to like control this conversation.
Let's try and set a polite business lunch date. Let's see where that gets us. I'm debating if I should harass Lysandra any further. I believe probably not.
At least not in this moment. You
not
will
in
hit
this
your head
moment.
bit off. You know that well enough that she has locked in on something that she thinks is interesting and juicy, and she has waited. If you harass her and or try to embarrass her, she will throw you under the bus.
That's fair. That's fair and valid. All right. Let's see. All right, we'll try and set things up at the Hapen offices then. If he looks over to Lysandra, gets the vibe, and then leans forward a bit. Why don't we talk about this over at the offices tomorrow sometime? You'll have to, of course, send an invite a bit later in the night. It's a festive occasion.
And you see Lysandra kind of cut you a glance. And there's a questioning there before she kind of straightens herself up, where she had leaned forward just a little bit to hear Belle a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
And she gives a little nod. Yes, it might actually be good for all of us to have a nice conversation, quiet. And, of course, we have plenty of drinks and food at the office that you won't be sitting there bored either. In Belle, you see a brow go up, and there's a moment where she seems to be considering before she kind of gives a little nod. If this is truly an invitation to discuss this further, I'm more than happy to indulge it. Hopefully it leads us to a rather lucrative agreement in the future between Circa and the Consortium. And she holds out a hand towards you, her right hand towards you, Effie. In the gesture of, like, let's make a deal.
Her right hand. They're facing each other, so the right hand is fine. If he will reach over, right hand, shake.
And as she is shaking your hand, you see her eyes drift past towards Haim. And perhaps, I don't suppose you were speaking for the Mandalorians. And Haim does not move as she is suddenly spotted. Then you hear, just loud enough to be heard over the noise of the crowd, kind of matching that eerily directed tone of Belle. Do I speak for all of the Mandalorians? Certainly not. But I do know what most would say. It would very much depend on what you have to offer. And there's another little smile and a nod from Belle. Should you happen to get to free day tomorrow, and if she is also invited, and she looks towards you, Iffy, in that kind of question. Might be interesting to hear what you would think of what our research and development is cooking up.
What do you guys think? Should I go for it?
Do it.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm down.
All right. If he... Jesus Christ!
Kill
John.
her.
Hi,
Kane.
No, it's like
Kane.
Kane gets back from like his trials, like, hey, I gotta talk to you, and if he's like, no, it's nice to see you. It's good that you're alive and you're not in jail. I need you to follow Regi instead. I can't talk to you right now. I have to use Hayne instead. And Kane like, the fuck? You have
Wait.
Kane again? Or you have Hayne again?
Wait,
You
I
just-
think I missed the conversation. Because thought we were talking about the
Somebody has to, if for Hayne to be willing to sit in on this conversation, somebody has to be guarding Regi.
Oh, okay. I think I figured out what happened. I had the Twitch open, so
Die.
I was hearing previous audio.
Gotcha.
So I was like, wait, what? I thought you guys were still talking about weapons.
We are talking about weapons. The debate is if we get Hayne to sit in on this, because she is fairly important within her sect of Mandalorians and does know some of this stuff. So it's not a bad connection and networking thing to do. But for her to do that, she has to come along with us, which means somebody has to stay with Regi. So that's what I was asking about.
Oh, yeah, that complicates things a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that means either Tia or Kane, as the only two official bodyguards, gets to spend a day with Regi.
Is why I was asking.
I mean, I don't have anything against Regi. My only concern is Hayne.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the concern there for me.
I mean, you can also, if you want to tempt fate, it would be very much if you would want to tempt fate into this agreement, probably after Belle left, she could try to bully Lysandra into coughing up her bodyguard. But that man has an itchy trigger finger and it's a little dangerous.
Like all gunslingers.
There's a reason why he is not on this board as somebody you can talk to, because he is off to the side of the party.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We could ask Kana. Kana would work as a bodyguard.
What? Where the fuck is Iris?
Listening in on the Twitch, I think.
I guess listening in on the Twitch? Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Would that be amenable to you, Amy? That way Tia
Kana?
can be here and Kana goes with Regi?
I mean, I pray for Kana's sanity. But, yeah. Because, I don't know, I feel like Hayne is a unknown entity that could pop.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, is that a Yes or a no?
Voluntold. I am amenable to voluntelling Kana.
Okay. All right. We will go with the voluntelling.
With
Kana.
permission from Iris.
Yes, with permission from Iris, who suggested the idea. So
Where the fuck
we will
did
go.
she suggest this idea?
She's messaging us.
Iris!
All right. So Iffy will consider this for a moment, looks over at Hane, and then looks over at Belle and goes, you know, Hane here is actually pretty important to her little cluster of Mandalorians, so that might be a good opportunity for you if you don't mind sitting around actually talking with people for once, Hane.
As you kind of look towards her, Hane just shifts a little bit. And you can sense the, look that was sent your direction. So, I don't like being here, let alone in a much smaller conversation where I am the representative of Mandalorians. But she, after a moment, gives a little nod. If discussion can be had with my employer to give me some time, I can sit in. That is what is being asked of me.
If he flashes a smile, well, then it's settled, right?
And Belle gives a little nod. I look forward to our conversation tomorrow, then. Will be interesting seeing what deals and hurdles might come up with negotiations. Would make Circle one of the largest corporations to have a firm deal with the consortium. And perhaps mean both of you get more than just brownie points with both the consortium and the Republic, from my understanding of things. And Lysandra just kind of tilts her head in your direction, Iffy. No, not the Republic, certainly. Not the consortium. We'll have to see, won't we? And then you can tell Lysandra responded pretty negatively to a guesstimation about the culture from this woman.
If he is now going to attempt a charm check to mend fence. What am I looking at here, boss?
Who are you directing this charm towards?
Well, Lysandra's the one who's a little upset. So I feel like that's probably the go-to move here.
Okay. So, let me see. That's better for you. It is 2 purple, 2 red.
Okay, downgrade twice, 4 purple. All right, so do I get a boost here?
In charming Lysandra, no.
No, yeah, that's fair. If anything, I should be lucky I don't have setback. So. I will take that. 6 successes. All right. Iffy hearing this will realize that something is amiss, and does she know if Lysandra's a "you can touch my shoulder" sort of woman or not?
In general, yes, touching shoulder, arms is fine. Air kisses, hugs, that type of things, she's a little bit more about.
Mm-hmm. So Iffy will touch shoulder with good arm, and then smile. See, Sandra, come on. I wouldn't have invited you here if you weren't the subject matter expert when it came to the cluster. And then she turns over toward Belle. And it was making, if I understand the culture correctly, impressing people in both the Republic and in the cluster, right?
Yeah.
If he, still smiling, will gesture toward Lysandra. And, well, let me put it this way. If you can impress this one, and me, you've already made a great deal of headway. We'll just have to see how it goes.
You can see Lysandra kind of like eyes dart your direction, and she frowns for a second before she nods, and seems to the ire that rose very quickly in her is kind of stamped down as she is reminded of, like, okay, we are the weird ones to the rest of the galaxy. There wasn't a slight here. And she doesn't voice anything else, letting you kind of smooth through the rest of this conversation. And Belle just again nods. Well, I look forward to our conversations, Ambassador. And well, suppose you would count as a expert in your area as well. And she nods towards Hayne. I should let both of you get back to the party rather than discussing business. And she starts to step away.
Iffy will say goodbye politely, and then will lean over toward Lysandra and, in Hapen, genuinely say, "Thank you for the assist on that one."
Lysandra kind of looks your direction. And again, she has kind of a hard to read expression on. She has many thoughts and opinions on the conversation that just happened, though she is not voicing any of them at the moment. She nods. Just so you know, she starts, in Hapen likewise. Circa has never put any augments or cybernetics on market. What you're
Now,
talking about is either truly cutting edge and brand new research for them, or complete and total bullshit.
now, correct me if I'm wrong. Were the cybernetics in the crate that we got Circa cybernetics?
Some of them were marked as such.
Iffy will look around very casually. Something tells me they're not bullshitting this time. I got that on good authority.
And she frowns a little bit. That means they've skipped more than a few steps in releasing it then.
What sort of steps are we talking here?
And Lysandra just kind of frowns, and you see the war of, like, do I share information or do I hold the card close to my chest because you clearly don't understand this. And she has that internal battle for a moment before she seems to come to a middle ground. Let's just say their research isn't fully complete. If they already have something out for you to have confirmation about.
If he nods, and then she will switch back to basic as she looks between Lysandra and Hain. Kind of a knowing smile of oh, looks like we're about to have a very interesting meeting tomorrow then, don't it?
Especially if you have something that they aren't anticipating, Lysandra says, still in Hapen before she looks towards Hain. And we'll look forward to hearing your expertise on the matters as well. Sure that you have more first-hand experience than either of us could ever dream of. And there's actually a snort from Hain.
Iffy will also snort. You would not believe the amount of time she spends polishing that armor and reassembling those guns. You would not believe it. It's hours a day, I'm telling.
And Hain looks towards you, and there's again the kind of heavy, uncomfortable weight. Oh, at least a little uncomfortable. And that's because I keep having to shoot people for you.
You haven't shot anybody for me in a couple years, at least.
Yet I keep running into you, so how long before I have to again?
Hopefully not tomorrow.
You can hope. And I think that's a good place to pause that interaction. And we'll rewind just a little bit. Back to Tia, Rigi, and Dahlia. If you'll give me a 5-minute pee break really fast.
I will use that time to make ramen.
Okie doke.
Hello, welcome.
Hey. How goes?
It goes. We are on a quick break. Potty break, ramen break, character shift break.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm back.
Barbara?
Welcome back.
Iris.
Hey. Ended up getting home earlier than I thought. Oh,
You can enter into a different type of podcast mode.
Yep.
Awesome. Joe, if you can hear me, I am going to request your help on Elden Ring at some point this week.
What happened now?
Hello.
Placidusax.
Placidusax? Oh, I haven't fought him in forever. Okay. This will be a learning experience.
That's for both of us.
have you tried putting your mimic in heavy armor?
No. To be fair, I had a random co-op person with me one time, and we almost killed him, but then he did an attack I had no idea how to dodge, and he one-shotted me. But aside from that, we almost killed him. And I was like, run like 2 or 3. I beat Melania. With a co-op person, but I beat her.
Hey, nice.
Victory is victory, it counts.
Mm-hmm.
If you can beat Melania, you can beat those just.
See, I have to have somebody that can take the aggro off me. I know how to beat, like, very quickly chunk health on these bosses with magic, but I need somebody to take the aggro. That's all I need.
Oh, you're gonna have a lot of fun with Godfrey.
I already beat him, too.
Oh, seriously?
You need Joe because Joe has 60 vigor.
Yeah. Yeah, I beat, just before session, I beat, Melania and Godfrey and Gideon. So now it's Placidusax and, Marika. In the Beast. And then I think there's 2 things I haven't killed in the game, aside from, there's more like 5. There's like 1 dragon that is just annoying. There is 1 death bird that is just annoying. And then there's like 2 or 3 more of the grave tombs that I don't like dealing with because the rolling carts. That I just said, fuck it, I'm not going to do these. But aside from that, I'll have beat all of the bosses in the main game. Both big and small.
Nice.
And thank you for that suggestion, by the way, Iris. That was really good.
I was trying to type, but I'm not good at typing on my phone. We can bargain.
Oh, we can bargain. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always down to bargain.
Voluntelling is also an option too.
No, if you want to bargain, we can bargain.
I'm interested in seeing Kana versus Iffy bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm back.
Hey, Amy.
Because realistically, I don't think this is something Kana would be against. It's not like stand with someone while they're in their office? Can't be that hard.
She thinks.
It's also important diplomatic experience.
Exactly.
This is Rigi
on her resume.
This is Rigi. The reason Rigi and Vialexa had issues is because he had a fling with Vialexa. Rigi gets around in multiple ways.
Look, Rigi is less chaotic than Iffy, so it will be a break for Kana.
This is true.
Yeah.
He's less chaotic than Iffy, and he is not as overt as the Zeltrons are. But,
It's like a vacation
This
for
is-
Kana.
this is, oh, why did I just forget his name? Imagine all the Riz that they have put into the one Jedi Natolan, but without being in the Jedi Order.
Hmm.
He can unleash it.
Think about Kid Fisto?
Yes.
Gotcha. I feel like personality-wise, it'd be best to send Tia along with Rigi, but I'm just worried that, man, having Kane with Iffy is like having a fucking live grenade, just bouncing around in like just a bag, you know? It's like, hi, it might be fine.
We shall see if Tia is even an option, based off of this next conversation.
Yeah.
Let's hope you're real good about lying about creation numbers to Rigi.
Mm-hmm.
If we are all back, we will shift our focus, rewind about 10-15 minutes, to Tia stepping aside with Rigi and Dahlia. And Dahlia has stepped a little bit further away from Rigi, is no longer like on his arm anymore, just standing beside him. She is in a very simple, fashionable dress, but not over the top like many of the other women in this party. She is letting Rigi be the peacock that he tends to be. And just a very simple, almost gunmetal gray dress. A few pieces of jewelry. Rigi is in very bright attire. And
Oh,
as
wait.
you... Yes.
Hold. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. My audio cut. I can hear you again.
Okay. So, as you step aside with them, Rigi is already starting in. Oh, can't say that you were the best rider that I've ever seen, but damn, you did good for your first race out. Only a few hours of training. If you ever want, I've established a couple of different tracks that I send my thumpers to across the mid-rim. And I can always use a alternate jockey, or hell, even start you in on a full career on it early on one of the smaller tracks if you want. Of course, if I can talk you out of whatever contract you have with Iffy over there.
Imagine, Tila takes a sip of her drink, just nodding, smiling. It's like, that would be interesting. I am very intrigued from the one race that we did do. Though I'm not sure I would be able to get out of the contract. Do you think maybe it's something that we could do separately? When I have free time?
He just kind of smiles. And as you're starting already into the like, oh, I don't know, you see him pull out a data pad. He kind of flips through a couple things. And then pulls up something. Not even for this amount. This is what my starting jockey pay is on one of the base tracks. And he turns the pad around. And you see a per month budget towards one jockey.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think you've seen that much as a core base pay ever in your life.
Damn.
We're talking about, think like, going from a minimum wage type job, scraping by and smuggling, you can make occasionally your commission's really, really high. But this is talking about getting like 6,000-7,000 a month minimum.
Jesus. That's a lot of credits.
And there's that very small part at the back of your mind that you can't stop, Tia, that starts to run the calculations of how many months would I have to work before I could buy a ship.
She's never been good with math, but she's pretty sure it's not that many months.
Way fewer than ever before.
Yeah. Talking single-digit months. Holy shit. And she looks at the data pad. She looks back up at Regi, and she tilts her head, brings a hand up to just think, rest on her chin for a second. That is quite an offer. Though, Regi, I do have to fulfill my contract. If I'm able to be poached by anyone, it would say a lot about me and my work ethic.
Who said anything about poaching? I'm sure if there's a contract you have written up with it, if it's Janiyah, then, well, if you promise to work and I'd shave 1,000 or 2 off on the first couple of months here, I can just buy out the contract, couldn't I? And Dahlia kind of clears her throat, and you see him kind of realize, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. And he just shrugs, and Dahlia shakes her head. Well, if you're really interested, I'm sure you can talk with your current boss. And we can come to some sort of agreement. But either way, it would be interesting to see you on the track again.
That would be interesting.
You seem to be rather natural with all of it.
Need to roll something. Tia lets out probably a laugh. Ah, yes, a compliment. That's nice. I like this. It's filling in her ego a little bit. And she nods. She's like, I guess I am, considering I only had, 5 or 6 hours of practice before the race.
Dahlia nods. And you see her head tilt a little bit. She kind of looks you up and down. Though I will say you seemed a little bit more sure on your foot last time.
Tia takes another sip of drink. Oh, really? I think maybe it's the shoes. These aren't new ones.
Okay, you're doing that. We'll need a deception roll from you.
His instinct is to lie.
Tia's instinct is gonna fucking get her caught.
She's like, I mean, these are new shoes. Maybe it's that. What am I rolling?
I am... Gives me a minute. One red, 2 purple.
Okie doke. Alright, come on, Tia.
You know what?
Oh? Sorry.
Too late.
Oh, sorry.
You don't want to apologize because it probably won't make it worse.
Okay.
And as you start to talk about your shoes, you see Dahlia's little tiny frown grows a little bit deeper. And she kind of crosses her arms in front of her. And Rigi seems to be sizing you up head to toe. Oh, let's suppose that might be a problem. Don't suppose anything has happened between then and now that would make it a little bit harder for you to ride.
She shakes her head. No, nothing that comes to mind, at least.
And Dahlia kind of shakes her head a little bit. Well, either way, suppose we could send you a list of where we run our thumpers out. See if you're ever around. If nothing else, you wouldn't be in the title races, but if you want to give our jockeys a break, you could run some of the warm-ups and qualifying. And Rigi nods. Suppose that is a middle ground if I truly cannot talk Iphigenia into giving up that contract on you.
She nods. I think you might have better luck with that. Miss Vale seems a bit particular about all the contract. So I'm not sure if someone as great as you would even be able to do that.
And you see kind of a puffing up of the chest at that before he grins. And there is a mischief in his face as he leans forward a little bit. Oh, I can be quite convincing when I want to.
I'm sure.
But
That would be interesting, being able to dip my toes in whenever I'm able to.
there are a few other things you might be interested in if you truly are an aficionado and a jockey. Or aspiring one, at least. Have you ever considered flying? Not in a ship or on a speeder.
Tilts her head. What?
Let me double check this really fast. Well, there was a little bit of a sport growing on some of the more waterlocked planets. Likely and Camino, in fact. Naboo as well, from what I've heard. The few people that have started to settle there. Taking some of the flying aquatic creatures, turning them into racing beasts as well. It's a little bit more of a long distance than a track thing, but I might be interested in starting a stable there as well. I don't suppose you can swim.
Tia nods. I can, though I haven't done it in quite a bit.
Just look up at Awa then. Nasty little creatures in some ways. They're predators on our home planet, but they leap out of the water and fly right along the surface. Many people have taken up using them as mounts and beasts of burden when they can, but imagine a race 10 feet above the ocean's surface.
Tia nods. All she can think in this moment is, what the fuck did she just get signed up for and lumped in with? She just smiles. Tilts her head, is like, that does sound interesting. Is that something you already have done, or is this just speculation?
Speculation at this point, though, and considering it in the near future. Better to get in early and establish myself as a stable there rather than me coming in late like I did with the Thumpers.
She nods. Oh, that would certainly be interesting, and it's not anything I've ever done before. But so was Creation Thumper racing, and I am a bit of a natural.
You don't even get through the last sentence before you get a hearty, pat on the back. Kind of sends you forward, half a step. Fantastic. As soon as we get the stable set up, I'll send a message to you to swing by.
Again, stumbles a little bit because her posture was not expecting that, so she fixes it. She's like, okay, steady feet now that I'm aware of this.
As you sense that, video game pop up in the corner of your screen of, Ricci will remember this.
Well, shit. She just nods. She's like, that would be interesting. It will have to depend on Miss Fell's schedule and where we're traveling. But I can certainly try and talk to her.
If I bring her in and tell her that you would be jockeying one of the very first leagues of AWA racing in the entire galaxy, well, even she would have a hard time not seeing the profit value there.
I feel like it's at this moment that Tia knows her fate is fucking sealed.
Tia, oh shit. If he would see that there is money here,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it, I'm gonna be a jockey for the rest of my life.
Tia just takes a breath in, lets it out slowly, nodding, accepting her fate. God damn it. And she'll pat Rigi on the shoulder. It's like, you do have a point. She is very savvy with things like that.
And that's why she's one of my favorite gambling partners now. Though I suppose that might change depending on how much she takes from me at the card house tomorrow.
I do wish you the best of luck.
He kind of throws an arm around your shoulders and kind of leans in conspiratorially. I don't suppose she's got any tells you'd like me to know about beforehand?
Tia will also lean in conspiratorially, raising up a hand to stage whisper. If I knew about them, I would tell you. However, I haven't really seen any.
Oh, come on. You're her bodyguard, supposedly, right? You have to be around her enough to see all types of tells. Just give me one. And I am going to take this as an opportunity. Oh. Let me see here. Rigi? There you are. See, I call him by his last name, but in the fucking thing, it goes by his first name. So I always forget I have to scroll up to find him.
Yeah. This guy.
So, he is... Would you say that that Tia likes Azim for the most part?
Yeah, she likes him. She'd be down to chill with him.
So, I need you to roll... Where is it? There it is. It's probably not going to be good for you, though. Discipline.
Oh, no. Okay.
Versus...
For
it.
Good luck.
Yes.
I'll give you a blue since this is against your girlfriend. But
Thank you. I'll take the blue. I've got 1 yellow and 1 green. The discipline is purely from being a Mirialan. The 1
Right.
rank. Oh, Jesus. Alright, so it's 4 red, 1 blue, right? Okay. I want to say I'm sorry in advance.
Oh no!
Oh, fuck! Oh, no! You know what? We can blame my husband for this. Earlier today, he was like, "You have a game tonight," and I was like, "Yeah, I do." He's like, "Damn it! I hope you roll a 1, no 2 1s." And I was like, "You can't roll 1s in this system." He's like, "I hope you roll the equivalent of 2 1s."
Fucking Joe.
Joseph. Oh fuck!
Oh no.
So you are suddenly overcome. So you like Ricci.
Mhm.
And though you may not be fully on board with the jockey game that he is playing, you're
Mhm.
talking about cards now, and you know that's Iffy's game.
Mhm.
And you have played against Iffy enough at this point that there's a little demon on your shoulder that leans in really close and whispers to you to give up some of her tells or some of her strategies simply to suddenly make a challenge for her.
She likes challenges, right?
Mhm.
She likes puzzles. She likes challenges. She likes puzzles. Alright.
Who despairs could also be, if I can make this worse for myself, she could fuck up and say something about how if he can't use one of her hands anymore.
Nah, I feel like that'd be going too far.
Okay.
But what's one of Iffy's tells, Kira?
You know, it's funny, I've never actually thought about this. I feel like, though, You know what? I'm tempted to say you come up with one, I'll come up with one.
Okie doke. Fucking, okay, 2 tells, I see.
2 tells. There's 2 despairs.
2 despairs. Alright. It's like,
That demon on
a
your
fun
shoulder
challenge.
is very convincing.
It's very convincing with 2 despairs, 3 failures. Alright.
If he made
What
you like
I'll
lose big time last night, you're still a little salty.
I'll say, if you can get her talking, she's very easily distracted and will sometimes gesture in a way that you can see one of her cards.
Okay, cool.
She has to get really into the argument, though.
Mm-hmm.
Argument being the key word there.
Yep. Alright. Well, Tia will take a second. Thinking, loading. The devil wins. She leans in conspiratorially. There's just a mischievous grin on her face. She thinks, you know what? I love sewing. It's great. It's my favorite pastime.
I love
Consequences? Consequences? I'll deal with those later. For now, she leans in. Well, there are 2 that come to mind that I've noticed. But you have to promise to not tell anyone.
You just see his hand raise and a finger
Pinky
cross
promise.
his heart. I
Mhm.
would never. Not if it
She
makes
holds up
me
a pinky. He needs the pinky promise.
money. He'll pinky promise.
Pinky promise. Great. Alright, cool. Papers have been signed. Alright, so, if you can get her talking about something, she does move her hands a lot when she does gesture, and you might be able to sneak a peek at some of her cards. Though, you do really need to get her into the conversation. The easiest thing to do would be talk about something she doesn't particularly like, or something she has very strong feelings about. Then she gets very energetic about it. The other one... There's something that she does. when she has a really, really good hand. She typically messes with one of her earrings. It's something very slight and very small. However, that's typically a sign that you should fold as early as possible, since she only really does that with a guaranteed winning hand.
See one of Regi's brows go up, and the grin grows just a little bit wider. And still kind of arm around Tia's shoulders, looks towards Dahlia. See, this is why you never let your bodyguards walk off. They know too much. And Dahlia just kind of shakes her head a little bit and is like, okay, oh lord.
It's all in good fun. I think it'd be a good challenge for her.
And Rigi just grins. Oh, challenge. Well, hopefully she's okay with losing half her money.
Tia kind of winces a little bit. Right, I did forget about that. I don't think she'll be too pleased, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
He just kind of waves off. Oh, don't worry, I'll just... She gets a little too mad or a little too upset about it. I'll just point her towards the next set of races. She made more than enough off the last one, from what I understand.
Tia nods as she's realizing, oh, that fucking devil is gonna ensure that I'm gonna be a jockey. God damn it. Right.
Rigi just finally lets you go and kind of straightens himself up a bit. And you see his hand reach out really quickly and snatch a little snack from a tray that's being walked by.
Oh shit, snack?
There's little finger foods, I imagine.
Ooh, Tia grab one too? Hell yeah.
He just kind of raises the little cracker sandwich in your direction, and the grin has not changed at all. I look forward to a long and enduring partnership between, you, me, Effie. Any other jockeys she'd like to send my way? And looks towards Dahlia, and Dahlia just kind of raises her glass very politely. So,
Cheer.
where did you get off to after Bilbringy? You have a whole new droid, it seems. I don't recall seeing that one. And she kind of gestures across the room where Mindy is just now stepping a little closer towards Iffy as you look over. Mindy seems a little uncomfortable about something.
Well, Tia take bite of snacky. And she turns, looks at Mindy, turns back to Dahlia. Oh, Mindy doll. She's a new addition. We've had her for a bit now. Not too long, but she's settling in very nicely. At least I'd hope so. But she's a medical droid that we'd picked up to make sure that we're all taken care of. Just in case we have any bumps or scrapes that we get.
You see Dahlia kind of tilt her head. You bring a medical droid to a party.
Tia nods. Well, I did feel bad about just having her be on her own. So I did ask Miss Bell if we could have a tag along.
Rigi just is now looking in that direction. Well, I can see the benefit of having a medical droid of your own around. A little strange, arranged to bring them along, but I don't suppose it's out of the question either.
Tia nods. She is rather pleasant company as well.
Dahlia gives a little nod. She is still kind of locked in on Mindy before she looks back towards you, Tia. Well, have you given any thought to some of the conversations we happen to have?
DM, can you refresh my memory? It's been like a year.
If I am not mistaken, there was some vague conversations and insinuations regarding new boss, new job.
Yeah, it was oh, your boss is mistreating you. Well, you can always come work with Regi.
Yeah, okay. I remember. Tia taps her fingers on her little glass. Nodding her head, but slower this time. I have thought about it. And, well, we've more or less smoothed things over. So, currently, I am rather happy with the current arrangement.
More or less.
I feel like it's at that moment Tia realizes I'm in with the fucking politicians here. I need to be careful. I'd be more careful with my words. Okay, shit.
The word vomit does not work here.
It does not work here. She thinks for a second. I am... Sorry about that. Let me correct myself. I am happy with the current arrangement that we have going on at the moment. Though I do appreciate the offer.
And because you got... I'm going to use this here. I'm going to use one of these.
Oh shit!
I'm going to need a cool check from Tia.
Well, shit!
Against Dahlia, does a perception. He's been caught in a little bit of a weird
Situation.
sideways lie.
Yeah.
He's gonna be 2 red, 2 purple in total after that flip.
Okay, it's 2 red, 2 purple. Well, this isn't looking good, guys.
It's fine. It's fine.
Could have been worse. Could have rolled more despairs.
You know what? We'll take that.
Kind of stumble over the... No, it's fine. It's fine. I've worked things out, and you see Dahlia's eyes narrow a little bit. There's a little tightening around the corners of her lips. And you can see she is reading right through you. This is not coming easily enough. You're being so vague. And so hand-wavy. And even Regi, who is listening, but is not engaging in this conversation, you see a little head tilt from him. But there is no interaction on his side. And Dahlia crosses her arms once again. A little champagne glass kind of poking out of the crook of her elbow. She looks you head to toe. Well, it sounds like there's a little bit more of a story there than you're wanting to tell us. It's rather unfortunate.
Hmm. Tia will probably shift her drink to her other hand. Continue the light little tap on it absentmindedly. It's not really much of a story. There were negotiations on the contract, and I do intend to keep contract negotiations private. What kind of...
Well, the implications from our last conversation seemed to be you weren't even sure if you were going to stay. I mean, if your boss doesn't even know your name after going through a contract negotiation to begin with, why stay?
Tia remembering more and more about the lie that she originally told. It's like, right. It's a bit complicated. And it's not just Miss Fell. It's the entire crew. I do enjoy working with them. And after we had our secondary negotiations, things are much more clear now.
So you're staying for the co-workers rather than the boss.
Tia nods.
You see Dahlia's eyes drift past you towards Iffy. There's a consideration there that you're not fully sure what is going through her head. And Rigi kind of sighs and steps forward a little closer. Well, I think that's just further excuse for me to try and get you into the AWILE stables as soon as possible, then. Hell, any of the people that you have that you'd like from amongst your current co-workers are free to come too.
Oh no. Oh no.
Rigi over here, just give me all of them. Give
Oh,
me
fuck.
his entire crew.
Oh fuck. Tia's like, if I just stable myself to the whole crew, it'll be fine, right? I can politely be like, no, I can't work for you. She did not expect them to be like, well, just take the whole crew. Shit. Fuck. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna double down. We're just gonna fucking roll with it. Tia just kind of lets out a laugh. That would be rather interesting to try. Though it is not very bad working for Miss Val. It's rather enjoyable. So it would be rather difficult to get everyone on board. Though I'm sure that... Sorry, hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Last thing
My
we
mic-
heard was, I'm sure that.
Yeah, my mic just died for a second. It just cut off. But I'm back. I think I just fiddled with the wire too much. Though I'm sure that if we do pay a visit to some of your stables, that it'd be a fun experience to visit. She says visit, very clearly visiting only.
And Rigi just kind of see him like clap his hands together and nod, grinning again. So I have to talk to Iphigenia about getting all of you out to Gleanselm at some point.
Tia nods. That would be rather fun. Though I'm not sure when we'll have the time. I'm sure you and Miss Bell could work it out.
He just waves a seemingly dismissive hand. What, two ambassadors chatting and making sure relations stay friendly between their respective home planets. There'll be no issues getting that handled.
Tia nods, takes another sip of her drink. Growing concern.
In fact, and as he kind of places a hand on your shoulder, he looks past you and sees that Belle is moving away from the group with the Habens and Hain. Why don't we see about getting you out sooner rather than later? And turns you around, arm around the shoulders, guides you back over to the group.
Wait, getting you out?
Starts dragging you back over to the group. And if you turn around and you're immediately greeted by Regi with Tia under one arm. And before you have a chance to say anything, how about we get you and your crew out to Gleanshelm at some point at Iphigenia? Beach day would certainly be fun for all of them, wouldn't it?
I imagine this happens just after she was talking to Hain, and so she turns and, smiling, only a slight twitch of the brow, just a very, very slight twitch of the brow that probably just Tia, maybe also Hain, can pick up on. You know what? A beach date does sound really nice. When were you thinking?
He just kind of gestures with his other arm, kind of sweeping to the side. Well, whenever is most convenient for you, of course, but sooner that you get there, the sooner we can discuss a rather lucrative deal between the two of us.
Lucrative deal? Now you're talking my language, Reach. You made me a fair bit of money last time we had that conversation.
How would you like to be on the ground floor and foundation? An entirely new form of gambling.
Iffy's eyes light up.
This is why Tia just accepted her fate.
Tia sees this look and she's like, oh no.
At the same time, you see Regi just give a squeeze of the shoulders and a little shake. He has won something.
An entirely new form of gambling you're talking about? Now, that is lucrative. Getting in on when the action's still fresh and young in those cases is, really where you want to be. What kind of gambling are we talking here?
Might be better to show you than to tell you, but suffice it to say, it's something that I and my existing stables and business partners would be uniquely able to handle the start of.
Iffy is already running numbers in her head, and she is seeing very many of them. And she smiles. You know, that does sound good. Might have to find some room in my schedule for a little trip over.
And should you manage to swing by and we can start discussing this deal, do bring this bodyguard of yours. He pats Tia on the back.
Smile from Tia.
Is it a good smile, or is it a get me out of here smile?
Yeah, it's a good smile. She's fine with Regi. She's just she's accepted her fate. She's like, okay.
A little tired.
Yeah. We're like, nah, this is fine. I'm just gonna die the day after the race.
If he takes a sip. Oh, that one. Yeah, we just hired her on not too long ago, but I've been taking her pretty much everywhere. She's been doing good work, so maybe a beach day's in the cards.
And if you care to see a little bit more, I can't extol the virtues of our underwater cities enough. Be like nothing you've ever seen before.
If he nods and... Rachie, I ever tell you I used to go sailing a lot as a kid?
And you see the grin grow even more. Sailing, you say? Well, I am sure that I could manage to procure you a lovely yacht on Glianzo.
Iffy's just absolutely buttered up at this point. She is living her best life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That does sound like quite the treat. Does it come with a crew?
Oh, that certainly can be discussed.
Well, I'm always open to more discussions. How about tomorrow at dinner? Although, if we're talking arrangements and bodyguards, Reed, could I prevail upon you for just a few hours more tomorrow? Maybe just 1 hour, maybe hour and a half.
You see him kind of tilt his head.
Can I borrow Hayne over there for something? Just a quick chat.
He looks towards Hayne and stares at her, and Hayne just gives one single slow nod. And then he looks back towards you, Iffy. Well, I suppose if you're up for swapping bodyguards again, so it can be arranged. Do have to take care of some business tomorrow, so I would like to have somebody with me.
Oh, of course. Well, I do have plans for that one over there. I've got a couple others I can offer you. I'll see who's available, but I'll make sure somebody gets to you.
And he gives kind of a nod of the head. I look forward to seeing what other bodyguards you have around.
Oh.
They're all as charming as this one, and he grins at Tia. I'm sure we'll get along swimmingly.
Big preening smile from Tia. But she will tug at Regi to get his attention. And she will, gesture to whisper conspiratorially again.
He leans down and closer.
More theater whisper. Right, you did mention that thing that you wanted to do. And, I think there might be someone else that might be just as good as I am.
And he kind of blinks and turns, looks at you. Oh, much closer because he's leaned close. Really?
He hasn't done this before. It would be his first time too. But I'm sure he's just as much of a natural as I have been.
His head turns towards Iffy. Are you just in the business of hiring all of the promising jockeys as bodyguards instead? It's rather cruel of you.
Iffy will just smirk. I've got excellent tastes in bodyguards. What can I say? I mean, I did hire Hayne before you did.
Is Tia throwing Kane under the bus? Yes, she is. Because if he's better than her, maybe he can do the race.
Well, you guys eventually get to Gleehansam and we'll discover which one of you actually has a fear of the deep, dark ocean.
Yeah. We'll see.
But Ricci seems amenable to another guard swap. And straightens up again, and I would like to just hand wave that there's a little bit more bullshitting back and forth. Before they do kind of peel away to go talk to somebody else eventually, with Hain following. And as they leave, essentially, this is what you are left with. And for the sake of moving on, because it is now late enough that I think it is time for me to call it, because you have reached the functional end of another conversation.
Yeah.
You can talk to one other person or group next time at the start of next session. Which group would you guys like to talk to?
Well, we have appointments to see Lysandra and Belle tomorrow. We can see Velena and Ryzen and the Zeltrons then as well. The other two in the Haven offices we can also see again. So I think we should talk to Yun over here, Yun Vita. I think that's who we should talk to next time.
Okay, so you're going for Yun.
Mhm.
So plan for next time is do that conversation, and we will jump into the next morning where we will do an iffy conversation at the Heap's office. And immediately after that will be when Kane and Kana manage to catch up. We'll have that social interaction, and then there will be a splitting of ways again, a different shakeup of the group. One person will have to go with Rigi. One person will need to go with Mindy to get her augment officially put in. And then one person can remain with Iffy for the lunch with Belle and Lysandra and Hain. Between Kane, Kana, and Tia. So the goal for next session, is to have the Yun Vita conversation, have the Hapes meeting, and the split up. And then the very next one I would like to get done is whoever goes with Mindy to the marketplace. Because that is where we will introduce Matt's character.
Yo.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Thank you for session.
Yeah. I had fun.
You're welcome. Any last minute concerns, issues, points of note?
End of session notes. One person goes with Rigi, one person goes with Mindy, goes with Iffy. We're starting next session off with what again? With Iffy talking to
Yun Vita.
Yun Vita, okay. Meet up with gang. Man, there's a lot of shit we gotta tell you guys. A lot of shit happened. Also, we're all hungover except for Mindy. Unless Oil
Mindy's
makes...
fine.
Unless Oil...
No.
Yeah.
They don't get drunk. It makes Mindy feel better because suddenly all of her joints are lubricated.
Nice.
She's less squeaky.
It's like bone hurdy juice, but the opposite.
Bone good feely juice.
It's the oil drinks for droids at droid bars is essentially they don't get drunk. It's actually more of a spa day.
Hell yeah.
good old lubrication.
So next session will be on the 28th, theoretically.
Ooh.
Because of how much we have to get through, I will not say for 100% certainty. Because I don't know what's going to happen between now and then, but we may start 30 minutes early to get through more. But ideally, everybody will be there. Just let me know if you can't get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody should be included next session at some point.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm working Saturday month and not Sundays, so that should be fine.
Go.